Match the following with the stages or evolution of human resource management practices. So you have to match the era with the year. Scientific management era, human relation era, behavioral science era, human resource management era. And the years are given. Answer this. If you are not able to answer the question, do let me know, but try, at least try. Yes. So the answer for this is option number B. Your scientific era started 1900, 1920s. Human relation era was your 1930s to 1950s. Behavioral science era is your 1950s to 1960s. Human resource era is 1980. Now, even if you don't know the exact year, but if you know the right sequence, if you know the right sequence, am I not audible? Audible, na? Yes, Ritika, you want to ask something? You're not audible, Ritika. Ritika, no. So please, okay, fine. Even if you don't know the years, if you are aware of the right sequence, that which era happened first. So we know it was the human relation. So sorry, it was the first scientific era, right? Scientific पहले आया, फिर human relation आया, behavioral आया, and then human resource management. Now this all we have studied in principles and practices of management when we studied the evolution, or you can say the different stages. Again, I have taught the evolution of organizational behavior, and this class has been taken on YouTube for the free, and even on the app it's available. See, there is no difference in the evolution of either of them, but the few things has been, you can say, add on, or some few things has been removed in every concept. So let's understand this, the journey of human resource practices. Other than this four era, are there any eras? So basically, it was prior to BC, before Christ, then ancient era, medieval era, industrial revolution era, trade union era, social responsibility, scientific management, human relation, and human resources. And middle of here, you can call it as behavioral, which is not written here. Now, we don't have to go to this long back medieval era. We will be studying from here. Industrial revolution era. What is this? So it was the era which actually has the characteristic, the relationship of, or now understand this is your expected. यहाँ पे एरा के पहली लाइन में जो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स लिखे हैं, ये अपकमिंग एग्जाम में आपके लिए क्वेश्चन बन सकते हैं. द क्वेश्चन कैन बी आस्क्ड के विच ऑफ यू हैव टू मैच द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक, यानी फर्स्ट एरा इंडस्ट्रियल एरा के कैरेक्टरिस्टिक क्या थे, उसमें क्या कॉमन था, क्या चल रहा था. सो इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन एरा, द रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन ओनर एंड बॉस. सो व्हाट वाज देयर, द रिलेशनशिप ऑफ दिस एरा वाज ओनर है, बॉस है, ठीक है, ओनर है, एक बॉस है जिसके पास में कंप्लीट अथॉरिटी है, and there is an subordinate who are called as master, subordinates who are called as servant. So the relation was master and servant role. ठीक है. Now the first industrial revolution started in middle of 18th century. It brought the labor. Adam Smith, who is known as father of economics, this is also your PYQ. इसके पहले वाले ईयर में क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है, who is called as the father of economics. So it is Adam Smith. So who advocated maximization of the wealth through his book Wealth of Nations, maximization of wealth and maximization of profit. You need to remember his book You need to know he is known as father of economics. Also, you need to know what was the relationship in industrial revolution. It was master and servant. Owner was having the authority and the employees were servant to them. Then came trade union era. This was the era where slowly the trade union or employees or the laborers started becoming aware. They started forming the groups. Also, somewhere government also started putting the efforts, so to control this trade union. But yes, there was a trade union era where all over the sector, all over the industry, there were the trade unions formed in order to enter into collective bargaining process with the employer or association formed with. This era was around 1880s. Trade union movement started and picked up strength close to 19th century. क्या था यहाँ पे? The relationship was between owner with the constrained authorities and the worker. ठीक है? Owner with constrained authority. Constraint here is that they had the authority, but somewhere they need to take into consideration the worker's viewpoint. So worker और owner के बीच में constrained authority. Then came your social responsibility era. Here the relationship was fatherly figure. Owner was the father who was responsible to take care of the employees, give them welfare measures. So that was social responsibility era, and this era was along the 20th century. Robert Owen is called as the father of the personal management, who is also associated, the first one who is associated with the welfare movement. Then came your scientific era. This was 1900 and 1920. So now here the relationship was expectant owner and skilled worker. Expectant means owner is expecting something. There is a standard of behavior. आपसे कुछ expect किया जा रहा है कि ये आपके standard of behavior हैं, और जो workers थे they were skilled because scientific method was used. So Taylor is known as father of scientific management, and his principles included scientific working, harmony, cooperation. He developed time and motion studies to increase the productivity. So this was scientific era. Then after that, somewhere women started taking part in the manufacturing companies. They started including into craftsman job. So there was a small era between this human relation era and scientific era, and relationship was between calculated owner and mass of workers akin to the appendages of machinery. So now this was during First World War, where women were started recruiting. So they were they were recruited for the job. The reason for recruiting the women here was that since First World War was going on, the men were involved into the war. So in order to fill the gaps during this fight, they started hiring the women. Okay. Now came human relation era. Hawthorne experiment, scientific management continued. Then came your Hawthorne experiment. So this was the time when humans were given the importance. This was around 1920s. Around 1920s, management researchers started taking the importance, giving the importance, and it was 1930s to 50s human relation era. Then your behavioral era. So this was behavior was studied. Then came your human resource management era. This was where management, your planning, organizing, human relation in the terms of motivation, gender, race, taking the background into care, diversity, also all that came into the